What's up traders, welcome to Failure to Displace. In this video we're going to take a look at this morning's London session on EURUSD, specifically around macro number 2 and a live trade execution that I recorded. I got stopped out break even, so we can learn a few lessons about trade management here and why I was too keen to get to break even too soon, because the trade did eventually play out, bagging at least the 2 hour that I normally go for, running down to around 3.7, 3.8 R if you were to uphold this. So let's jump into the analysis now. See the live execution and how the trade played out. So we are looking for a short here on EURUSD. We have swept the Asia high prior to London opening. Dixie has failed to sweep the high, so we've got bearish SMT at this point. This is an inverted Dixie chart, so these should mirror each other if everything is working as expected. The Dixie is obviously weaker at the moment. It's failed to take the Asia high, creating bearish SMT. We've come down, we've swept the previous macro low, but we've created relative equal lows here with the swing low in the gap between Asia and New York, Asia and London. The Euro has not dropped as far, so again it's showing weakness on the Dixie. Obviously ramped liquidity at this point, which is a really good expectation for this stuff to get ran. We've pulled back into optimal trade entry in this macro. We have an inversion fair value gap on the 5 minute. At this point, we have a breaker block on the 5 minute at this point as well, around optimal trade entry. We are inside a large inversion fair value gap on the Dixie, refining that down on the 1 minute. The Dixie's just underneath a 1 minute order block, potential level of resistance again at optimal trade entry. We've left fair value gap underneath here, so this potentially gets traded through with SMT and a large engulfing candle, and that would be my trigger to go short. We're looking for SMT at this point between the two. Around 50% of that little order block. Closed exactly at 50%, which is a good sign. Now looking for a little bit of SMT on the 1 minute chart between these candles, and an engulfing closure over a fair value gap. That would signal a short for me. Low hanging fruit would be currently session low. Swing low there, so potentially take ourselves to break even here, in fact, just as we sweep this liquidity. I'm bearish on the day, so I do have a daily bearish bias because we have created relative. We've got lows here that haven't been taken, and the euro to continue lower to sweep out this liquidity. There's our SMT on the 1 minute. So this candle here has taken the high. Candle here on the Dixie has failed to take the high. That's our SMT. We've got a large fair value gap here, which has just been left. This is our point of interest on the euro. Dixie relative equal highs, whereas we are making a new high here, so we still do have SMT. This shoots up into this volume imbalance, then that's going to eliminate our SMT. We need the Dixie to start reversing now. It's gapped up. No SMT. Gapped up into this order block. This last candle left a fair value gap. This is SMT, so the euro again has taken this candle's high. The Dixie has just created relative equal highs at the moment. Tapping into the same order block on the euro. Our fair value gap is still currently that fair value gap. Let's get rid of this inversion, we don't need it. Left the fair value gap here now. Needs to be a pretty significant candle. I would also want to see the Dixie closing over this fair value gap. I wouldn't take the trade if the euro closes but the Dixie doesn't. I wouldn't take the trade. I'd want to see them both closing. Stop loss would be above this high if this does come out. Trade would look something like that. Gonna need a bit of a bigger reaction. So gapping lower, so we may take a trade on this. Be an inversion. See Dixie still respecting the fair value gap. Ourselves a fair value gap here now. Bearish fair value gap. Gap lower. Build an SMT. The other way. I know the euro's going as well. Created ourselves a nice little order block in here. These areas should support price if we come back down to them. So again, if we trade through this, that's a good sign. Could end up with a breaker. Obviously, we had relative equal highs up here. We had generated a lot of liquidity. We'll keep an eye just to see if there's a strong reversal at this point in the next 10 minutes or so. If not, price continues higher. We'll just sit on our hands. No news Monday, which means that can lack direction on these kind of days. Powell speaking on Friday. A lot of bank holidays, so no trading on Friday over the Easter. There we go, there's a large engulfing with SMT. This could be the one. So we're closed over. This has taken the high. This hasn't taken the high. Closed over a fair value gap. Low hanging fruit is just here, so we're very close. Taking that short. Close the candle. Stop loss above the high. We'll be taking out this low. That's our inversion fair value gap now. Problem that I've got is that my low hanging fruit is just here, so it's just into profit. Sweep that low. I'm going to want to break that with displacement. We are in an order block, so I did take a trade respecting an order block. Both were respecting an order block, but that is the plan, is SMT with an engulfing candle and an inversion fair value gap, which we have on both of these. We're into the inversion fair value gap now. There we go, here's our continuation. We're looking to break that low. Good reaction off the inversion fair value gap, but we need to get through this low, at which point I will go break even. DXY is dropping, Euro is not dropping at the moment, so we need Euro to follow the DXY. Closed over 50% of the fair order block. Bullish SMT at this point. And we're clear through, so this is our break even. Full stop to break even here as we've already swept liquidity. I'm expecting this to drive now. If it comes back, this will just be a break even trade. And that's break even. Damn. No profit this morning, just break even. That's just tapped me out. Let's just see if this played out, and if I was break even too soon, potentially could have run it down for a 1 hour look here and then gone break even. Dropping away nicely. I've got stops at break even. Let's just see if we would have been better waiting for this low hanging fruit. DXY definitely seems to be having more momentum than the Euro. Euro's still hovering around the entry, whereas the DXY is a long way down. So we're back again into our entry. This is obviously a breaker now. This order block has failed, so this is a breaker. So we've got ourselves a bit of a unicorn entry here because we've got a fair value gap through the breaker. It's actually a closure through that area and then a stop loss above the breaker high. Would have been the unicorn trade. And maybe it could have given it more chance to breathe, given the fact that we do have a breaker block here now. Instead of moving the stop to break even, move my stop to just above the breaker, or indeed above this order block. Last up closed candle. Probably could have just trailed my stop to above there instead of going directly to break even. This is our SMT, just 2 candle pattern, 1, 2. Large candle took the high. Comparing that on the DXY, it did not take the high. So that was our bearish SMT. Just monitoring this now just to see if my aggressive trade management was worthwhile, or whether I should have maybe used a bit more of a logical stop loss placement, following price action down as we were creating PD arrays to act as resistance. This is silver bullet hour now, which a really lovely target will be relative equal lows for silver bullet. Grab some liquidity. We may get follow through into the silver bullet hour now. Expecting our unicorn on the 1 minute. Broken through those lows, getting some follow through. Ah man, yeah, my trade management was poor. Got a break even here. The initial one that I highlighted, instead of this one, it was too close to the entry potentially. Obviously, when we built the breaker block was respected, so stop loss above the breaker or above the order block would have been more sensible. I could have trailed the stop loss down several levels. Swept this, so this is just over 1-to-1 now. In fact, we just tapped 1-to-1. Slow grind down, which doesn't fill me with confidence that we're going massively lower. I was really expecting quite an aggressive run. Take out the Asia lows now. This would have been the perfect Judas swing. Relative equal lows between New York PM session and the Asia overnight. Sweep the high for a Judas. Come down, smash these lows, going for that ultimate low that we're targeting, giving us our bearish bias. There she goes again. There she is. 2R would have been hit. So that was poor trade management on my part. there. I was too keen to get risk free too quickly. Should have stuck to my original plan. That would have bagged us 2R, especially given the fact that we had generated levels that would have been more logical. Place the stop loss on and just going straight to break even. So there we go, we learned something today. Something I need to be monitoring potentially more carefully moving forward. I hope the video was useful. If it was, please like and subscribe. If you've got any comments or anything, leave them down below. It'd be great to get your feedback on this, on how you would have managed this one. And did you see the breaker? Have you taken the breaker block trade? Because that was perfect. Now driving for the lows, and ultimately, as I've mentioned, expecting lower prices today, bearish on the overall day. So this could have been the high of the day, and you could potentially grab a huge runner on this to take some serious profits. I would have been out at 2R if I hadn't got stopped out break even. So there it is. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next video.